Local shrimpers are calling for change after a study showed some Lowcountry restaurants aren't using local products. Our Emily Deanne spoke to advocates who say they hope these findings will be a catalyst for change.
The Holy City, beloved for its southern hospitality and famous shrimp and grits, is now at the center of a food fraud scandal. A recent investigation reveals that many local restaurants claiming to serve local shrimp are actually dishing out imported farm-raised seafood.
Well, it just tells that a lot of people think they're eating fresh shrimp.
The probe found that at 90% of the sampled eateries, the shrimp was not sourced from South Carolina waters at all, but rather imported, sometimes from overseas farms, yet menus still boasted a fresh local catch.
Imported shrimp or foreign aquaculture shrimp are often shrimp that are grown in ponds or high concentrated vats to grow shrimp quickly and artificially.
The Southern Shrimp Alliance commissioned Seafood Development Consulting, or SEED, to run genetic testing on shrimp dishes served at 44 Charleston area restaurants. They tested food items from May 19th to May 22nd. The results found only 4 places used locally caught shrimp.
The biggest thing is we got to get people to know that they need to ask where their seafood comes from.
Shrimpers say the fraud casts a wider net of issues and are working to hold restaurants accountable to serve what's being advertised or implied on the plate.
And one of those solutions could be something like country of origin labeling law, where when you go to eat at the restaurant, you see on the menu, hey, this shrimp came from South Carolina, or this shrimp came from India, so that the consumer can make that decision.
South Carolina Shrimpers Association says they have a full list of restaurants who do serve locally caught seafood on their website, so you can look before you eat.
We're all small businesses, and we're American businesses, and we're trying to stay in business, and we're struggling, but we can do it if more people reach out and buy more fresh local seafood.
Everything that we're doing is with the goal of legacy and longevity. That's what we're working towards.
The South Carolina Shrimpers Association filed an injunction against 40 unnamed restaurants who were found to be serving fraudulent shrimp.
What we're trying to do is fight for what's right, for fairness, for honesty. And the reason we invited these wonderful restaurants behind us is to show that you can, in fact, be profitable. You can serve amazing meals and with the highest quality and still, make good business decisions.
The study from Seed Consulting found that at 90% of the sampled eateries, the shrimp was not sourced from South Carolina waters at all, but rather imported, sometimes from overseas farms, yet menus still boasted a fresh local catch.
And I believe if you eat it at a restaurant, you should know where your food comes from.
The injunction calls for a judge to forbid local restaurants from advertising local seafood when they don't serve it. But lawyers say they won't stop there.
We're also looking for potentially the disgorgement of fraudulently earned profits. We might want the restaurants to pay back this money that they fraudulently earned.
Shrimpers say they are also fighting for the consumer, working towards an origin labeling law for all seafood, including shrimp, on the menus across South Carolina. While there is no timeline on when shrimpers could see justice, lawyers say this should serve as a warning to restaurants.
It is a warning to you that it is illegal and that something's got to be done about it because the shrimpers are suffering because of this.
All right, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Brian Jones. I'm the Vice President of the South Carolina Shrimpers Association. We have behind me Rocky Magwood, the President of the South Carolina Shrimpers Association, as well as our attorney, Gedney Howe, the fourth, who's going to give you a lot of information that I think a lot of you are here for, which is the amendment of our suit against restaurants that we have found, or that was shared with us, that they are violating several laws, most of all the ability to be transparent and honest with their consumers. And here is Gedney now. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you all for being here. If you'll bear with me, I do have some notes written down. I'm a little new to being on television. I want to tell everybody that today my legal team filed an amended complaint in our ongoing Shrimpgate litigation to reflect significant new evidence that has come into our possession via subpoena. In reviewing that evidence, I think perhaps the most disappointing thing that we found was almost every restaurant on Shem Creek failed the testing. It's a hard thing to stand there next to the statue of Wayne Magwood and look out over the creek and look at the remaining shrimp boats and sit there and know that every restaurant you'll see, and not every restaurant, the restaurants that were tested did not pass. They are not supporting the very shrimp boats that are parked outside of their restaurant.
New tonight, a development in the shrimp scandal that has rocked the Lowcountry.
The State Shrimpers Association previously filed legal action after 90% of tested shrimp they found wasn't actually from the state of South Carolina. They're now releasing some of the names, calling people out.
Some of them
tonight.
I know, some of the places I've been to. Our Emily Deanne has been following the case for about a month now. And Emily, what did we learn today?
Well, after a subpoena to Seed Consulting, the private company who conducted the DNA testing on 44 local restaurants' shrimp dishes, the South Carolina Shrimpers Association is releasing 25 of those names, but 15 defendants remain unnamed in the crustacean controversy.
This is a shame that we have to find out this way and the public has been getting lied to for so long.
Wednesday, the South Carolina Shrimpers Association amending their civil action to include the names of 25 local restaurants who were found to be misleading customers. Among the restaurants named are some of Charleston's staples: Pearl's Oyster Bar, Page's Ochre Grill, Red's Ice House, and Hyman's Seafood.
We hope to, in an ideal world, help create an environment where this problem is self-regulating and prevent it from continuing into the future.
The claims are based on genetic testing conducted in May, which found that 90% of the shrimp samples taken from 44 local restaurants were mislabeled, with 25 deemed outright fraudulent. Hyman's Seafood releasing a statement in part saying, "In our restaurant, if any guest inquires whether the product is fresh or frozen, we are always honest and forthcoming. Unfortunately, this miscommunication online occurred without our awareness, and it does not reflect the standards of transparency we strive to uphold."
The issue at the core of our case is not a one-off issue. It is symptomatic of a larger problem that's going on in the community. It is a problem that is multifaceted, and we are witnessing a issue of misrepresentation, of outsourcing, and of disregard for the people who have fed our community for generations.
Beyond that, they say imported shrimp can pose serious public health risks. A University of Georgia study linked imported shrimp to an antibiotic-resistant bacteria, prompting Louisiana to issue a public health warning. They say customers should demand transparency.
One of the great things that's come out of this imported shrimp crisis is our ability to communicate and have a coalition building.
The Shrimpers Association has a growing list of bars, restaurants, and markets that have been verified to serve local wild-caught shrimp. The group says it's ready to go the distance to protect their heritage and your dinner plate.
What I didn't expect is for an out-of-state wholesaler, a supplier from out of state, who supplies one of the defendants, to call my clients directly and threaten them and try to intimidate them into dropping the lawsuit.
Attorneys for the South Carolina Shrimpers Association grappling with unexpected challenges.
I did not expect that some of the defendants would continue, both publicly and privately, to misstate facts. I wouldn't expect new fabrications. I wouldn't expect new misdirection from some of these defendants in, private talks about the merits of the case. And we are experiencing that over and over again.
The South Carolina Shrimpers Association says it has spoken with 18 of the 25 businesses named in its lawsuit, and dismissals have already been filed for Carrigg Seafood, Mount Pleasant Seafood, Poseidon's Playhouse, Tater's Sea and Soul, and Happy Crab Cajun Seafood.
They have agreed to help us, and they understand our goals, they understand the efforts we're undertaking, and they get where we're going, and they don't have a problem with it, and they're ready to help us get there.
Attorneys say the misrepresentation isn't a victimless crime, impacting the shrimpers and the businesses who do sell local shrimp. They expect litigation to continue for months as they still await files from Seed Consulting, who conducted the shrimp DNA study that kicked off the whole debacle.
But at its core, the issue is pretty shrimple. It's not just about menus. It's about fairness, it's about truth, and it's about truth in advertising. And we're here to fight, and we're not going to quit fighting until truth is on the menu everywhere in Charleston, and hopefully eventually everywhere in South Carolina.